All right, let's give it a go. Welcome back to another matchup on our channel. And this is also another matchup with us commenting the game after we played it. Since last time we received a lot of positive feedback regarding that. A few of you also wanted to stick to the old system, and maybe we will do some videos with that in the future again. But for now we will try it out and experiment a bit with that. It has a few benefits, as I think, mainly because we can elaborate in detail what our decks are supposed to do and talk a bit about the decision more in depth and having a chat about this and that too. So
yeah, and I think it's always the more fruitful analysis usually happens in hindsight.
Yeah.
It's different to the in-game situation where you're sometimes working with a little bit less information, or you're speculating about things that didn't end up happening, and but usually in hindsight you can still kind of consider what would or should have been happening, and how you probably are supposed to play something like this. So I kept a hand here. I'm on the left. I kept a hand here that had a line to combo and had a tutor to have access to some of the cards that work well against what Felix is trying to do.
Yeah, maybe we should elaborate shortly what our decks are intending to do overall.
True. Yeah. So I'm playing Rocco. It was a list that we played against in Prague the last two times we were there, and we were pretty positively surprised by how that deck functioned, and I really like having that kind of toolbox to figure out how to get through situations where you have a lot of different things you can do. And the commander really helps with that too, because you have access to, in this case, you need more mana, and you don't really care about the tutor from Rocco, and you want to have the 3 mana body in play. You can just cast them for 3 and get a Dryad Outlaw. Put 2 bodies in play. That's a really good thing to have, that kind of flexibility in the command zone.
Yes, on the other side, I'm playing Meria. This is probably a deck you have rarely or never seen on the opposite of your table, probably. So shout outs to Bernard, one of our friends from the FNM. He brought it up at some point, and I was very skeptical at first, but I was playing against it a bit, and in the end I liked it a lot. Back in the days, I was also... back in the days, it's still the same. Like, I was experimenting with Zai and Reality Chip last year, and earlier this year I played Ratchet, so I was somewhat on the Affinity train, and this one, again, is Affinity in Gruul colors, something you have probably not seen so far. Basically, you play a bunch of 0 and 1 mana artifacts, along with a couple of combos. You see Grindstone on the battlefield already. Of course, you see Urza Saga producing construct tokens, which are very, very big. So you have several angles to tackle down your opponent, either by comboing or beat down. There's also Nettlesys, there is Arcbound Ravager. Yeah, you can sack all your board into it and make it a big creature. And it might be lethal, depending on your opponent's board. So, well, this deck is, to be honest, it's quite fragile in a way that you're often very dependent on Meria in order for the deck to function the way it should. So if your opponent gets to kill it, or even worse, counter it, you're dependent on the 7 but pretty much on your starting hand, and trying to develop something from that, which is quite hard most often. But once you get it going and you go into the deck more deeper using the ability, you can find all kinds of combos to win the game, or just outvaluing your opponent or locking the board with Ensnaring Bridge and all that stuff also works. But yeah, I liked it a lot. It was fun to play it. It's obviously not tier 1, so I would not bring it to a tournament, certainly, but it's a nice deck list for an FNM or something like this. And here you see me playing an Ethergrid. That's also a card you rarely see in Duel Commander, since there are not that many lists that can fit it in.
Yeah, that's a really strong card. It makes it into a couple of modern sideboards sometimes, but other than that, it's pretty rare.
Yeah.
And my line here was to try to get somehow get to Kiki Jiki, Restoration Angel, Infinite Attackers, and I thought that was probably the best way to stay in front of that. But with the Aether Grid, I don't think there's. I'm not sure how long this game keeps going, but with the Aether Grid on board, there wasn't that much that I could do.
Yeah, and I mean, I called the birthing pot in the beginning with the pithing needle. Now that there's the Aether Grid on board, the birthing pot is not that useful anymore. Like, if you destroy the needle, it gives you one more turn, and then you just realize that the grid would just be lethal. Since at that point I have like 6 artifacts on board, and the deck plays 20 plus 0 mana artifacts, so it's quite easy.
So as we see here, I initially targeted the pithing needle, but didn't quite realize how little life I was, so I ended up targeting the Aether Grid to stay alive. Because if I kill the needle here, he deals me 1 damage, and I don't kill the Aether Grid here, he deals me 1 damage and then untaps, and without even having to attack, he deals me another 3 damage.
Exactly.
So the Aether Grid was a must-kill card there, and looking at my hand, I think I have a Renin 6, and I didn't play a land, so no land in hand.
Spike Feeder you have too, and Endurance.
Spike Feeder and Endurance.
Yeah. Now I'm in a situation, I'm not in range to do anything with the Grindstone to kill him with that combo, so probably I'll just attack with the Constructs. I'm not sure. I have a couple of artifacts in hand. We see a Swift Foot Boots. There's Walking Ballista. Yeah, now I think I got rid of the Rocco in order to attack with those 2. So you have to sacrifice the big creatures.
And then I think I stay alive for 1 more round.
Yeah, I think so too. But I'm already in a quite comfortable situation.
Yeah.
And there's nothing left that you would benefit from activating the pot. Also because, if you play the Bolt and the 3-drop, you have to pay life for it, which is not the best in that situation. Although Meria is not even running a Bolt, I was only playing Galvanic Blast. That's also something. The deck is very limited in card choice in a way that you want to make sure that you can cast almost all cards you exile with her ability.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like the Gathering Blast is in this deck almost always the better Lightning Bolt, so I just choose to play this one over Lightning Bolt. I didn't see the need to play both. There's a Battered Golem. This is one combo piece, if you so will, because it allows me to have an artifact constantly untapped once I play another one. And there's also a second card. There's the Grinding Station, which I play in combination with Underworld Breach. This is also a combo that you will, I would say, almost never face in Duel Commander. It has been played, or it is still played in CDH, but in CDH you have all these 0 mana rocks that enable the combo, so you can make colorless mana, for example, with mana crypt, and then you can sack it into the grinding station, recast it with Underworld Breach. And thanks to Meria, we have pretty much the same situation, just that I make infinite green with any 0 mana artifact.
Yep.
So there is a clown car, a battered golem, untap, so I have 1 green more. And there are the swift foot boots. There's no need to roll a die for the clown car since
I think you were looking to count your mana.
Yeah.
Floating it with the golem.
Yeah, because I was at that point, I think I forgot 1 untap trigger from the golem. And there is the grinding station. So from now on, basically, I can exile cards for free from the top whenever the top card is 0, at least a 0 mana artifact. And just play it, untap both, and go on.
Yeah, so I would have to draw a miracle here to get out of it. And
I still have the constructs on board, and that's pretty much GG.
Yeah, and even if I still manage to get 2 more blockers, you still have the upper hand.
Yep.
Yeah, so I kept a pretty aggressive hand here. I think that we see a land, or not an aggressive hand, more like a
interactive hand.
I kept the Renegade Rallier, Extraction Specialist.
And you have the Cankerbloom.
And the Cankerbloom, yeah. So I get to attack for 3, kill one of your things, and then get it back with a card in my hand, which is a pretty strong combination.
Yes.
So we'll see how far that
and you have, I think you have Renegade Rallier and Safi, which enables...
And Safi and Extraction Specialist.
Yes. So okay. So actually, you have like 4 activations.
3 ways in a hand.
Yeah, exactly. which is quite powerful. And at that point, Samuel is just checking if Chromatic Sphere is drawing a card if it enters the battlefield, but that's the case for Chromatic Star.
If it enters the graveyard.
Yeah, enters the graveyard. Yeah,
on the sphere, on the star, and on the sphere, it's part of the mana.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think now I go for Shock in a land and activate my guy and play Safi, sack Safi, and activate my guy to still have the pressure on board, but to stop you from having. Okay. So I'm waiting if you play something good.
And there's the Saga again. But I think I made a different decision. I think I put that one. Well, you let me put it back in hand because it would have been. I haven't had your ability in mind. It would have been completely stupid to play the Saga into your Cankerbloom activation.
Yeah,
which
so
is basically a wasteland in this situation.
An important thing, not even that. Because the Saga, it doesn't have a mana ability until you
get the law
until it's in play and its trigger has resolved.
Yes, exactly.
Which happens when it enters the battlefield. Yeah. So if you can interact with the Saga as an enchantment before it gets before the trigger resolves, then it doesn't have the ability to make any mana yet.
Yeah. This is something, by the way, some of you guys are sometimes upset that we take back certain plays, but we don't want to lose or win games by stupid decisions. Since we want to show optimal cases, I don't want to say the best cases for the hands. That's quite hard to always play like the best hand. But at least optimal cases that are less flawed than this decision I was about to make, just because I was not aware.
that's an important part of that as well, because like if you make a decision that is obviously bad, that if you had taken more time to think about it, or had known the rules better, um, you would have made a different decision. That's not something you want to be happening at a tournament, and that's or even when when you're showing people how a deck works, you don't want to be like, well, I could have done this if I hadn't forgotten about this ability.
Exactly. This.
And we're trying to show how the decks
Yeah.
play,
Exactly.
not how to play them. Uh, how to play out your mistakes or something.
Yeah,
like
exactly. I mean, for the case you described, cockatrice would be a thing to do that, like just playing alone, streaming, and then while we're doing something, we can process our thoughts. But since cockatrice is not looking very well, and also now there's MTGO, which offers people to play Duel Commander 2. I'm just saying that would be a format for something like this. But in this case here, we also sometimes we're a bit stressed to don't make too or to not waste too much time for decisions and not have like a 1 hour 30 minutes matchup or a best of 3 just for this match, or just to show you one of these commanders. That's why mistakes sometimes happen.
Yeah.
And there's another card on the field you rarely or probably also never saw before this game, which is Lantern of Insight. When I played Reality Chip, I was playing Codex Shredder in order to get rid of the top card once I couldn't play it or I didn't like it. And now I play Lantern in order to get top card information and to see if it's worth it to exile a top card and if I can play it. And I also get valuable information about your next draws.
Yep.
I think
in this kind of situation, it was also an upside for me because I didn't want to draw Walking Ballista, so I had the opportunity to shuffle. Yeah. That's something you got to consider when you're playing the card as well. But if you have enough upside on your own side, the times where the opponent will have value from that is not that high.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, usually like it's slightly on my side because I will exile if I do not have the information and I have the setups to exile a top card. I will do it anyways. Just like you will know which card it is. The question is just can I play it or not, and that's the main difference.
Yeah.
So here.
So in this case, I've been sandbagging Kiki Jiki, or Kiki Jiki's been in my hand for a long time, and now I'm able to play him, copy the Canker Bloom, attack with 3 creatures, and then sacrifice the token Canker Bloom to. In this case, I think I probably killed your Zaga or the Painter, but probably the.
I'm not sure if you even choose that line. To be honest, I think you choose a different one. Sure. But we will see in a short while.
What do I take the Extraction Specialist?
I think you do that, but we will see.
Okay, we'll see.
Yes, I have a Painter Servant on board, which is at that time pretty useless as long as you have the Canker Bloom active to destroy it once I activate a Grindstone, if I ever find it. So that's nothing to.
Oh, okay, so yeah, I don't take the Kiki line.
Yes.
You don't block.
So now last turn I got a window to play Saga, because you were tapped out, so you cannot destroy it.
No, I chose to not destroy it. You played it, and then I held my hand up because I had 2 mana.
Okay, never mind then.
But it was just I decided I didn't. I was more scared of something relevant coming.
Yeah, I was talking too much about the Lantern and Codex Shredder in singleton formats.
Yeah.
Which is quite rare, like, to be honest. These are cards you rarely see. And there it is again.
Okay. So I take this line.
Yeah, and I thought that the creature that's returned with the specialist would enter tapped, but it just says it can't attack or block.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then we figured it out later. This is also why this card would be suitable for some kind of reanimation for Cephalid Breakfast or Cephalid. How's it called? Illusionist.
For a breakfast.
Yeah. Either to revive the Druid or Cephalid itself. Both CMC2, and you don't need him to attack or block either. So that doesn't matter. And this is just another card in order to make that sure.
Yeah, and you probably don't have the Renegade Rallier probably isn't going to work that often to get back one of those cards because they're usually going to die in the opponent's turn.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the turn before it, or like at the end of a turn, and then you have to trigger Revolt again.
But also for the version that I played the last time on Cam with Kenrith, Renegade Rallier was the only way to get them back once you enable the Cephalid loop. So if your opponent has an answer in a way of Graveyard Hate or something like this, you can rarely do something against that because he will just exile your reanimation target and then the whole combo is gone anyways. But sometimes it's good. Let's say you have like an early line where you play Renegade Rallier just to get back a fetch land or something like this for value, and it might get randomly exiled by Swords to Plowshares or something like this. Then it's good to have a second target for the combo still to be a thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So here, I think how do we play this? You play the.
Yeah, I'm activating Meria a couple of times. Mishra's Desk is still in exile. I find the Grindstone, which I play now.
Yeah.
But as I said before, it's still not very relevant since you can always destroy the Painter in response. Yeah. So I have to find something better. And hope to not die against your board or whatever you come up with next turn.
Yep. Yeah, so it would have been pretty good for you. The Extraction Specialist not letting me attack with the Canker Bloom probably would have been pretty good. Yeah. But I think with the Kiki, I just have lethal attacks.
And all of these, like the Rallier and the Specialist and Sephi, these are all 3-card combos designed around Phyrexian Altar, or I think the deck was also playing Goblin Bombardment, right? Or was it not?
I don't.
I'm not sure anymore. So. But okay, it's at least it's Phyrexian Altar.
I think just the Altar.
Okay, fair enough. But both would be lethal. Either you have like infinite mana and search for targets with Rocco, and you can search your whole library basically, since you can always sack it into the altar again.
Yeah, so Phyrexian Altar was the. Yeah, there's no. Phyrexian Altar is the only sack outlet.
Yeah, and here I did.
And Minsk and Boo.
I kind of did the mistake to. I should have in this case I should have activated Grindstone in order to force you to destroy the Painter. Because otherwise I'm just dead on board because you present 9 damage and I have only Meria open. But I think you had more stuff to you had equal to search for something to kill Meria, or maybe just go for a normal Minsk. The 3 mana Minsk, and then beat me with the hamster and make a big hamster. I'm not sure if you. I think you were
not sure what I threatened here, but I mean you have the line of blocking one of the big like the Renegade Rallier or the other guy with Meria, and then taking on and activating the grindstone so that I have to sack
Yeah,
the
that's what I meant.
Canker
Yeah, that's
Bloom,
what I meant. Yeah.
and then you go to 3. And I'm not sure how we played that out, but I think whatever happened there, I probably win.
Yeah, you also had the Kiki
Because
on hand,
Meria.
so you didn't play anything at that point. So if I
Yeah.
would have gone for that line, you could have just played the Kiki, copy another 3 power buddy.
Yeah.
My decision was still wrong, but you've had more in hand that would have saved you the win for that turn.
Yeah.
And the next card you've never seen. I think the first time, honestly, the first time I've seen an egg played in Duel Commander was when Thomas brewed the Dargo Tevesh deck.
Yep. Yeah.
And it was like really the first time I've seen an egg in Duel Commander, and this one is the second time that you get a deck to play egg. I think there was the Azurios artifact deck. How was the commander called? Tameshi? I'm not so sure anymore, but it has
that's
the
card.
it has the loop with, or like the combo with
a good interaction
Lotus
with
Bloom.
Lotus
Exactly.
Bloom.
I mean this commander, and it was played for some time, at least in the French community. I think one guy from Leipzig also tried it. But this deck was not playing the Azurios deck, as far as I know. I think it could have been, but those guys went through different iterations of the deck, and I think they figured it's not worth it. And here I have Ancient Stirrings, basically searching for land. I think I'm only playing 32 lands in the list, I guess, or maybe even 30. I'm not sure anymore. Yeah, however, I have the Frenzy, no hand. Frenzy is along with Mystic. This one is even better than Mystic Force, it's called. So this is the artifact for 4 mana that also lets you look on top of your library, and if it's an artifact or a color spell, you can cast it. And you can tap it, pay 1 life to remove the top of your library. Experimental Frenzy just says you can't play anything from your hand, but I can play all the spells from the top of my library, even lands.
Yep.
So, yeah, you have the pot on board. I can't really control the pot. You just have to figure out a way to get rid of the frenzy very, very quick. Otherwise, it could be that I'm going off next turn already. So obviously, I play Paradox Engine in this pile, making infinite mana and then finishing with different things, either Breach or Aetherflux Reservoir and stuff like this. I also play Walking Ballista. There are a couple of options.
Yeah. So I think I'm going for Canker Bloom again here.
Yeah, it could be the
deciding to pay the life and not really respect any damage that you might have on board because you haven't played a Zaga yet. And just killing that, hoping that you don't have any more, and having more mana was the plan.
Yeah.
And I think that worked.
And there's the beautiful newer Japanese Lava Elf.
Yeah.
The promo. This is the only channel where you will see different kinds of Japanese Lava Elves, I claim.
That might be the case.
Just because there's one Japanese foil degenerate. So there's a Spyglass. It's 1 turn too late. Would have been great to have that last turn against your pot. But better late than never. I cannot choose the Altar because it's a mana ability, so it doesn't shut it down. And the Skull Clamp is currently... It's looking good. You have 2 1/1s on the field. But it's also quite slow.
Yeah. So my hand at this point looks pretty slow. Let's see how... I'm not quite sure how the rest of this game progresses.
I'm not sure either. The recording was prior to my vacation, so it's some time ago.
So that's a pretty good pretense for doing something, for getting somewhere, is finding one of the combo pieces.
Yes, and then I play the Talisman and swing for 3. And this is quite a nice board for me. I have 2 baubles on board, a couple of mana rocks that produce mana even without Meria on board, which is sometimes very, very necessary in order to recast her.
Yeah.
Since I play only that many lands of 30, around 30, you can check the list and tell me.
Okay, so I found a land. Now I don't quite remember how.
I mean, you have 6 mana on board, so I cannot prevent you from casting Rocco. And Rocco cast can result in a Simsi 3 or less target, which, might be able.
With an extraction specialist.
Exactly. And then next turn, or even not now. Never mind. I thought you couldn't like go off on the same turn, but next turn you can just activate the pot your elf into Safi, and then you have like a combo, and that's what I mentioned earlier. You have
so I activate pod, sacrifice my commander, get Felidar Guardian, untap Felidar Guardian. Felidar Guardian untaps pod. I pod away the Guardian. Go get Karmic Guide. I pod away the Karmic Guide returns Felidar Guardian. Felidar Guardian untaps pod away the Guardian for a Kiki-Jiki, and then I can copy the Karmic Guide once.
That would be the complicated way. The simple way would be to just pod away one dork, go for Safi, play your altar, and then you have infinite mana. And then you can just play Rocco infinite times and search your targets instead. But the way you described is the classic way of podding.
Winning with a pod.
Winning with a pod. Or a Naya pod. But in most cases, pod decks are designed around Naya. You also see Mara from time to time with this combo as a feature.
Just checking, on your side of the board, you've exiled 4 cards and are deciding which one of them to play. Yeah.
So this is these are the Swift Food Boots, if I'm correct. I don't see the picture, and it's one of these new blueprints. And then there's a Nettle Cyst, which is probably the best card. I've already exiled a couple of them. I can play a land, and
Nettle Cyst.
There is nothing amongst these cards that's really saving me from losing the game. I would have had to find Relic of Progenitus, for example, or something that interacts with your graveyard.
Oh, okay. I take the line that way.
Yeah.
I could have killed the Cankerbloom and activated the pod. Instead, I sacked my board to recast Rocco for 7 from my command zone. So this is always a thing about these decks. There's different lines that can get you there. Some of them are worse than others. So I think the line Felix mentioned was probably the best because it left me with the most creatures on board and the most and the least vulnerable to some form of disruption, which Felix didn't have. Yeah. The line that I was suggesting would have meant that I activated pod 3 times, which would have cost, in this case, would have cost 2 life because I had that much mana. But in other cases, it's more expensive mana-wise, and then...
Yeah, and that's it. You win by combo.
So
I did not manage to do that.
With infinite mana, I can get Rocco. Rocco gets the Duskwatch Recruiter, and with Duskwatch Recruiter, I go through my deck and find a Walking Ballista to hand, and then cast it from hand.
Yep.
So there's loads of lines to winning from there. Yeah, I think this matchup is interesting because both combo decks can kind of go fast, but as you can see, my deck is a bit better at disrupting and
at the same time that's quite difficult for me to deal with something like this. And go through. Okay, thanks a lot for watching, and see you next time.
Thanks for watching. See you next time.